I now want to go to our correspondent, George Solis, who we were speaking with just moments ago. He is in Kingston, Jamaica. Now, Kingston is a little bit east of where the cone actually is of this hurricane, where it's going to make landfall on the southern side of the island. George, it seems like every time I check in with you or with someone like Peter, from the last time we spoke, the conditions have worsened. Is that true right now? What's it look like outside?
Yeah, Savannah, I mean, the skies are definitely looking more ominous. You can see the clouds getting a lot darker. Oddly enough, we're not seeing a lot of rain at the moment. The rain has been off and on, but what we are seeing are some of those stronger gusts of wind, some of them clocking in easily at 40, 50, maybe even 60 miles an hour. Again, that's that tropical storm force wind that we have been talking about. And again, on the ground, what we've been seeing is some debris starting to fly, some siding from buildings, older buildings starting to maybe tear off a little bit. One thing that I do want to note about us being hunkered down here is that the roads, not all, but definitely those in low-lying areas, have started to flood. Jamaica has a number of what are known as gullies here in the Kingston area, and these are basically ravines where water is meant to flow right back out into the ocean. Now, one thing that locals told us, interestingly enough, is that a big problem here is that a lot of trash from the residents, not just commercial, but you're talking fridges, stoves, mattresses, ends up in a lot of these ravines, which creates a big problem for backup and drainage. So officials spent a lot of time ahead of the storm trying to clear as many of them as they could to hopefully help from the water from getting stuck here. But, you know, obviously they can only do so much ahead of that. And again, as you mentioned, almost every time that you come to us, it does seem like the wind is picking up. So again, I stress that our crew is safe and prepared to weather this storm here. We did catch a bit of a break with some of these, stronger winds here. But obviously, as we heard from the officials here, we're not taking any chances in making sure that we stay safe. We are continuously checking in with a number of people in Ocho Rios, in Montego Bay, as that one individual we spoke with, about what conditions there are looking like as the situation grows more and more dire as we await the official landfall of Hurricane Melissa. Again, I've been talking to officials here almost at every hour here, trying to get updates about the evacuations, why evacuations maybe weren't issued sooner, and what were they doing with some of those residents in those low-lying areas that were reticent to leave. And the best they could say is, look, at this point, have your safe space. If you don't have a plan, that window, again, definitely shortening here by the hour. And again, we're just keeping a close eye to the skies here to make sure, as the winds pick up, that nothing starts to fly and that we need to run inside and seek shelter, Savannah.
George, actually, would you mind, because I know when people are watching coverage like this and we're stressing the need to evacuate and we are discussing that this hurricane just continues to gain strength, and then they see one of our correspondents out there. Explain a little bit how you cover this, how you are safe, the decisions and the steps that your crew has taken to be in the position that you are right now.
Yeah, it really comes down to having a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. We always have safety first at the forefront of anything that we do. So we always assess to make sure that we are in a fortified building, have a place to run to seek shelter, have the necessary tools at our disposal to make sure that if we go out in the storm for any length of time that we are able to get refuge. We want to make sure that our teams on the ground here are definitely protected from any of the elements. And we make judgment calls as the storms progress to make sure that we stay indoors to report from a safe place. We obviously want to get the information out to the public, any updates from officials, but we want to make sure we're not putting our lives at risk. So I can tell you I'm not very far from a place that I can duck for cover if I need to at this point. We also make sure that we stock up on supplies. You never know what a storm is going to do, so making sure that you have all the necessary essentials, water, foods, non-perishables, much like any person that is trying to weather this storm is going to do. We just make sure that we have it at a even heightened sense of awareness, so we can keep staying on the air as long as possible, because we do know at sometimes with storms like this, you do run into issues with cell phone towers being down, power going out. So we have contingencies for all of that in place, Savannah.
Glad to hear it, George, and thank you for helping us understand. You mentioned some infrastructure concerns, like when it comes to roads flooding. One of the other things, of course, and Americans who live in the South, certainly who live in Florida, will be used to the big concern during this time period also being power outages. Just a little bit ago, NBC News was reporting 240,000 were without power. That came out of that press conference earlier. You got to imagine there's definitely a possibility that has gone up even just in the last half hour or so. Walk us through what we're hearing from officials in terms of power outages and their optimism about when power will come back.
Yeah, so from last year's hurricane, that wasn't a direct hit, Hurricane Beryl, they said they learned a lot about staging and what kind of tools they would need to help get power back on as quickly as possible. This has sort of been a consistent message that they've been announcing at each one of these press conferences. They mentioned generators that they have that they can power. One thing that's actually very interesting that we did note very early on is there was concerns of people actually vandalizing some of these power lines before the storm arrived, and that raised a concern about vandalism, looting, which at this point we have not seen any reports of that, but it was something that was addressed by the officials. But as far as getting the power back on once this storm passes, they basically have said that they're going to have to wait until the storm does pass. They have linemen that have also flown in from the states that are here on the ground, ready to help crews here in Jamaica get power restored as quickly as possible, Savannah.
All right, George Solis from Kingston, Jamaica for us. He's going to stay with us. We'll continue to check in. He will continue to stay safe. George, thank you very much.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.